Yo, 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 yo. Welcome to the first episode of Main Guardians Man Cave, a new podcast that's for fathers with children with autism. Man, I wanted to bring this podcast about, man, because I hear a lot of fathers talk about there's no support for them and there's no backing for them when it comes to their children with autism. And we know we as men, we always have that barber shop where we can talk and let things loose, man. We also have get together in our man cave where we can just be our authentic self and be vulnerable. So that's what that is. This is a place where we're going to come and be able to be vulnerable as men to discuss things we deal with our children with autism and how to help and support each other as we go throughout this walk of life with our child, man, because it's not going to be an easy one for them, but with the power and strength of their father, we know that these kids can live a normal, typical life, and that's the goal, man. It's always a goal when you have a child with autism, man, just to get them to live a life that's as close as to normal as possible, whatever normal means to you, right? We all have our different views of what normal means. Whatever that means to you, our goal is to support you and support so that you can support your child in becoming the best them that they can be. So once again, Main Guardian, Man Cave. So what is Main Guardian? Main Guardian is a not-for-profit that I started for Fathers for Autism. The goal and point of Main Guardian is to actually, like I said, support fathers that don't understand autism, that are confused by it, that need some type of help or resources as they walk through this journey of autism. And my goal for this organization is just to be able to pour into you, pour into individuals as they go throughout the process and have ways for you to be able to get the resources you need, get the comfort you need, be able to be vulnerable and release frustrations when you need to be able to have a support team around you. So that's a whole goal for Main Guardian. And this Main Cave is just a small part of what we want to do. We want to go to things where we're doing all kind of events for men to where we can fellowship and be together and talk about this thing called autism and how each one of us individually walk this walk and how we can pour into others and doing the same thing. So that's what we're trying to do. This podcast. This is the first episode, man. This is first episode for us, for me. We're gonna have more episodes. We're gonna have episodes with people to come on and talk about researching and how they research the dynamic of fathers with their children. We'll have hopefully we'll have some co-parenting podcasts. We'll have some podcasts of new relationship type podcasts, and also having things where we talk to other fathers that have children with autism and then also the community around us, right? The people we have in our lives that directly affect the process and intermingle with our child and with us, and how that can influence and affect how we maneuver this process called ASD or autism. But the purpose of this current episode is for me to let you guys know and start off by being vulnerable myself and telling you my story. And it's not just my story; it's me and my son's story and his mother and how we got to this point, um, and how we're going to move. How with Caleb in his life, we're going to move forward to making him be the greatest young man that he can be. So I need to tell my story, and I'm not just going to tell my story from the aspect of just to walk with autism. I'm going to take you back to who I am, because I think it's important that we as men understand why we have the thoughts and feelings we have when it comes to autism and our child being different, and it stems back to who we are as individuals, as men. So let's start off there, right? Again, I'm Kevin. Call me Kev G, whatever you want to call me. Most of my friends call me Kev G or Kev. Um, Kevin is just such a common name, right? So, but I grew up in Peoria, Illinois, right? Single parent home. I got four other brothers and a sister by my mom, and I have a couple brothers and sisters on my dad's side. But I live mostly with I live completely with my mom and my other five siblings. I have a twin brother. I'm very athletic. Well, I played every football, wrestling, baseball all through high school. In college, I played football, and I'm actually in my college Hall of Fame. I graduated from there. I have an accounting degree. I have a master's in accounting. Blah blah blah. I work as an accountant, right? So that's just my quick backstory, right? So the reason why I'm telling you that because it's going to play a direct factor in who I am and how I and the fact that getting the diagnosis of autism and what that had what they had on me, right? So it's a direct correlation. So um get ready, be vulnerable, right? This is the man cave. I'm gonna be very vulnerable here. A man cave where I want to be able to, you know, how we sit together and we want to just like you all my boys right now. If you listen to this, you my boys, you my sisters, whoever listen to this. This podcast isn't just for men, but I want men to tune in to this podcast for sure. But if you're hearing this, if you're a mother with a child with autism, and you're hoping that the male figure is involved or the husband or the boyfriend are involved, want to get involved, and they need to know more. This is for them also. Um, but I'm gonna get vulnerable when it comes to talking about my son, because if anybody knows me, my son is everything to me. He's everything to me. So this diagnosis was tough, right? So let's go back. Caleb was born June 21st, 2016. He was premature, premature baby. His mother's water broke early, and so he had to stay in the NICU for, I want to say, 10 days. 10 days in the NICU. He couldn't be breastfed through the bottle. He had to be fed through a tube because he wouldn't latch onto a nipple, right? So, you hear about preemies and how the things that they go through. I was a preemie as a twin, but I was a twin, so people say it doesn't really matter. Most twins are preemies, but not as. I don't think I was as early as Caleb was. I think Caleb was. He was born in June. He was supposed to be born in August, I believe. So, early August. So he was born. He came home. Caleb has two awesome grandmothers, right? But his grandmother Mary lived with me and Caleb's mother at the time, and she was awesome, taking care of Caleb, and everything seemed to be normal, right? Everything seemed to be normal. He just was, and so I say that, and I say everything seemed to be normal because I want to put you in the atmosphere where I was at. So I had so many goals for my son. When he was born, before he was born, I pictured, I had it all planned out. It was all mapped out, roadmap. I mean, as soon as he turned 5, he's going to be in flag football. He turned 7, he's going to have very, very light contact, and he's going to gradually get into that contact football. And when he get to high school, he's going to be the meanest, nastiest linebacker. He's going to go play for Notre Dame. He's going to go play for the Bears after that. Had his whole life already mapped out for him. He's going to be the president of the United States after that. Like, his whole life was mapped out for him before he was even born. That's my boy. That's my son. Already got it taken care of. My, how that changed, right? So his mom, his grandmother, at around 2, his grandmother went to go back home to Peoria, and while we stayed up here in the Chicago area, and we put that Caleb in daycare. So when Caleb was around 2, so Caleb was saying some words, but he wasn't really very super verbal. And the doctor was saying, like, he's not saying a lot of words, but they'll think they'll come maybe and all that and things like that. So when he was about 2, almost 3, he was in daycare, and he wasn't speaking that much, and so and really wasn't comprehending certain things very well. So one of the daycare teachers was like, you guys might want to get him tested for autism, ASD. And when she first said it, be truly vulnerable here, I was a little bit upset that it was even considered. He has a speech delay. He was fine. I had to take speech when I was younger, around first, second grade. I took speech. He's gonna be fine. It's just speech delay. He'll get his words. He's saying some words. Like, he's not totally nonverbal. So I was like, but there's some other cues with him comprehending, understanding. He won't really play with kids. He will play parallel with them sometimes, but he wouldn't directly connect and play with kids. I'm like, he's just been a kid. It's who he is. It's who he is, right? So, and they kept saying, and they kept was talking about possibly being tested, and me and his mother, because he was going to actually speech lessons also at the time because of the doctor and people saying about his speech delay. And so I was like, okay, let's get him tested. And I remember we took him to the Easter Seals, and he did all the testing. I'm like, they're asking him stuff like, Like, I'm like, some of the things they're asking him and telling him to do, he's not responding just because he's a kid. Like, he doesn't care. But that's not really always the concept of or the process when it comes to ASD. It's not that they care; they just don't understand, right? So, in my mind, the dad's mind, the father took over, right? I'm like, he's just a boy. He's gonna be fine. And so, I remember we got him tested. I forgot how long we had to wait to come back to get the to the results. So we came back and brought him back in. They set us down and told us Caleb was autistic. I'm like, man, y'all tripping. Hey, bitch. Hey, y'all tripping. Y'all tripping. My son autistic. But they start explaining things and start laying it out, and some things they laid. I'm like, okay, I see that. I see him doing that. I see him not really responding to this or that. Some things that sounds like, okay, maybe my son is autistic, but what does that mean, right? What does that mean? What does that mean for us? Um, so we left that day, and I got in the car. We got in the car, and I bawled. I totally bawled, cried. Not all those plans that I had set right for Caleb were just shattered, absolutely shattered. And this the funny thing, man. And women. The funny thing is that's the first thing we go to as men is that those dreams and goals that we have for our kid are shattered, right? They're gone. But they don't have to be. It might take a little longer to get there, or it might be different routes to get there, or it might not happen. But that doesn't mean certain dreams and wants for your son are gone. But that's where we go to as men, right? Because we men can compartmentalize things, so we don't. It's hard for men, and I'm gonna say it's hard, and I'm not gonna say this for all men, but to think about multiple things at once. Women do that way better than men, right? We get like for this ASD diagnosis, we get the diagnosis, we internalize it. We internalize immediately about, and then it's like we don't think about the external stuff or anything else. We internalize immediately. We can't think outside that box. And that's what get to the emotional vulnerability is where like you can only think about that negative aspect of it instead of seeing the world in its totality. And because we like to box and hold everything in, but so we got the result, and I bawled, and I was just like hurt. Like I was mad at God. I was mad at everybody. Like I was mad at myself. Like, did I do something wrong? Is there something wrong with me? Um, we got genetic testings, and both me and his mother came back. No, they don't think genetics is the issue there. So we just don't know. You don't know what causes autism and why, and it's like it's so much going in your head. Like, what's the next steps, therapies, and blah 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 blah. And so that transition was hard in itself, emotionally, on me for sure. I can talk for his mother. I'm pretty sure we have similar experiences when it comes to that, but not. It probably differs some also. But for me, um, it was tough, and also meant his mother was going through a separation, and um, so that whole timing was crazy. But I only could think about really truly one thing, and that was my son. He was my 100% focus. And I just wanted him to be like, man, I wanted him to go like be a awesome football player or an accountant or the president or like, man, that was my hope and goal, but it was just totally stumped on. And this one I want you men to think like it's okay to admit that when you got that diagnosis that it hit you that hard because it man, I mean it was more than a gut punch. Like my heart was ripped out of me, right? But we have to be as men, we have to be able to say that. And if any women listen, men, you have to allow men to express that. So to move forward, we started doing things with Caleb, getting him into ABA therapy, getting him into speech therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy. Well, we started doing all that stuff. Um, we also he got tested again. I want to say a few years later. I'm saying when he was 6. So every 3 years you had to get him tested. When he was 6, he was tested again. And the thing about Easter seals is that, and this is not a bad thing on Easter seals, and I'm gonna get to this point, is that we didn't know what we know. Autism is this spectrum, right? We didn't know where he truly fell on that spectrum. We didn't know. It's so confusing, right? We got him tested for Easter seals. We got a little bit more information, right? He's a 33rd percentile, right? And you got to understand what that 33rd percentile is compared to the spectrum and things like that. So we're a little bit more clear. So what happened with me is that, okay, once I got out of that funk of everything shattered when it comes to my son, when I got out of that funk, what I did is I dove head into autism. I read everything I could read. I researched what the spectrum is. Ask questions to Rush about what that 33rd percentile mean, what percent mean, where is that on the spectrum? What does that mean? Like what would his therapies look like? What does his development look like in the long term aspect? Even though you want to focus a little bit on short term more than the long term. Like I dove fully head on in because I wanted to know everything and I want to do everything possibly I could to support my son and to help him live a normal life as possible. Nothing was going to stop me from doing that because I love my son that much. And to you fathers out there that receive the diagnosis and still to this day don't get it, we're here for you for that, main guardian. If you need help understanding what autism is and where they putting your kid at on the spectrum, son or daughter on the spectrum, we can help you figure that out. We can be that support system for you. So the thing is, man, we have to, as fathers, dive in deep into the water, right? We like going back to us being compartmentalizing things. We tend to simply put a burden on the women, right? We put a burden on the women because, for me, I want to be I want to be that backbone. I want to be that foundation for this foundation support that I can hold everybody up. I don't want to be the one where I'm being drug along and making things a little bit more rough because I don't want to put myself in a position to learn what autism is. I don't want to have to deal with my kid throwing a tantrum or stimming or running away or having certain type of behavior. I don't want to be more of a weight. I want to carry that weight, right? And I feel like I hate to be stereotypical or be say this as a gender role because it's not, but well, some people might think it is, but I think men have to step up and be leaders, whether be leaders in our family, and that means whether you are with your kid's mother or not. I'm not with Caleb's mother, but I'll tell you one thing: when they see me and her coming together, they know we're about business. Like when we go to meetings and stuff together, they know me and his mother is about business. And I hate to say it this way, is that when they see a father come to a meeting, things are different. And it might not be different in every situation, but let me tell you, I think it changes the dynamic when they know it's two people coming there defending their kid. Most single mothers go into those meetings by themselves, and some of them just give up. Some of them say, okay, whatever you guys say, go, and they don't get completely what they need to get for their kid. That's not fair. That's not fair to the mother. It's not fair to the kid. If both of you go into there as a source for your kid with knowledge, there's nothing anybody can stop from your kid getting what they need to get just by pure law, just by the law of states, right? Just by understanding what that means. Key thing, IEPs, and I'm definitely going to do a episode on IEPs. It's a lot of single families that go into IEP meetings not understanding nothing that's being talked about in those meetings. Have no clue. There's zero clues going on in those meetings, and they just say, okay, if those teachers and those therapists are saying these things, then and this is what they need, and this is the percentage of time they need, they're right. But sometimes they're wrong. A lot of times they're wrong. You know your kid better than anybody. So if you know your kid has a speech issue and they only want to give your kid 15 minutes of speech a week of therapy, and you know that's your kid's worst area, no, you can fight for more speech time. You can fight for more OT time. You can fight for some of these things that you really don't know about because you're not inundated with what autism is. And it's awesome when it's two of y'all together going there saying, no, we know our kid. You guys saying that he only needs this or on the opposite side, educationally, your kid, they only can do addition up to 10. It's like, no, my kid can actually do double digits and actually can do triple digit subtraction and addition. We do it at home. We see them do it. You can question whether they're pushing them or whether they're challenging them enough or they challenge them too much. You know your kid better than they do. I mean, they see them for a lot of the day, but you know your kid. You're with your kid all the time, right? So, but the reason why I say that is because so many single women go into these meetings by themselves, and I'm telling you, men, I'm telling you, when they see a man walking, and not saying that it's right at all that a man changes the dynamic of these meetings, but it sometimes it does. Not just a man, but when there's two, when there's one against a table of 5 to 10 therapists and teachers, two people that know their kid like the back of their hand is so powerful. You can't go in there and tell me that Caleb needs this when I know for a fact. I sit with Caleb at the table every day and do addition and subtraction and read books. And I know Caleb is a phenomenal reader. Now his comprehension a little bit off, and that's what we want to work on. But he can read in any book you put in front of him, or he'll sound out words the best he can. He will read the book. He can do math. So you're not going to come here and tell me something that I know that is factually false because you're not pushing them in that classroom. So you have authority, you have power, you have the law on your side. IEPs are legal. That people understand that they're legal. But let me get back to fathers. Like we have to be educated in this world called autism and ASD in order that we can support our kids the right way. So back to Caleb, after his second diagnosis of ear seals, we got him ABA, and we're seeing phenomenal changes with Caleb. We think Caleb's he's gonna go and be fine, but it's because not only his mother, not only did she go all in into Caleb's development, his father did also. His father said, "No, what? I'm taking this on head on. I'm going to be the backbone of foundation of this thing. I'm going to start an organization called Main Guard and make sure I educate more men about this. I'm going to go to every IEP meeting I can go to. I'm going to go to every doctor's appointment. I'm going to do all of it. I'm going to commit to making sure I know what's necessary and needed for my kid." And yes, we're saying this for kids with ASD, but this should be the thought process with typical kids also, fellas. Like it shouldn't just be with ASD, but it's just I digress because they're talking about ASD. But if you love your kid, and that's the foundation basis of the whole thing is that if you truly love your kid, you're gonna do what it takes for your kid to succeed. Period. Period. And just because you don't understand ASD doesn't give you a reason to not. Right? You need to learn it. You need to understand it. Right? You need to do what it takes. Don't say, "Oh, um." So, for instance, Kayla's mother asks a lot of questions. We're tag team when we come to these meetings. She asks a lot of questions. She's that type of person. She asks a question. She writes them down. She spells out, and I'm the heavy. I'm what I call the heavy. I sit back. I let her ask the question. I ask some of my questions on my own too, and me and her talk so we understand. We know what's going on. Like I know what she's asking, what's going on, but I'm the heavy, right? So I'm the presence. I'm the father presence in the room. I'm on to make, and I make sure that it's understood. I'm the father presence in the room, so it's understood. So they know they can't do any. They're not gonna be able to put nothing past me. And so when it's necessary and needed, and I feel like I need to put my foot down on some things, Kayla's mother sits back, and Daddy Hawk steps up, right? And so we had an issue with that when Caleb was in the first grade, where we get to a meet, we all years if thing left out the right things going wrong, and a music teacher saying he got a C in the class because he wasn't paying attention. He doesn't look at her when she's doing things. Lady, do you know he has ASD? Like that does like I know how she came like the principal freaked out when we told him that she said that. So we get a meeting, we find out where all year for Caleb's testing, he's supposed to have accommodations. Caleb didn't get not one accommodation all year for any of his testing. So we're in that meeting. We had another meeting, and they before the meeting started, they said, "Does anybody have anything to say before we start?" I said, "No. I have something to say, but I want to wait till we finish." And so we went through the meeting, and we finished. And I let them know straight up, I don't think y'all good enough to support my kid. And think about that. They have to put that feeling down in the IEP. They have to write that down. It has to be noted in IEP that dad does not feel that we can support their kid. Because you tell me all year you can give my kid any modifications for his testing in his IEP. Make it make sense. Now y'all pissing me off. Like I don't like to get pissed off. I'm a pretty nice guy. Until you piss me off, that hawk come out of me, right? Caleb, my baby hawk. But if you know the law and you know the rules, man, there's nothing that people can do to stop you from doing what's best for your kid. But the key thing is, man, you have to know and you have to want to know. I want to know because I love my son that much that I need to know, right? And if you truly love your kid, do the work to make sure your kid knows, or the world knows, the teachers know, the therapists know that this dad is fully in. He's fully in. Let the mom know that whether you with the mom or not, that Papa, I'm all in. This is my boy. This is my girl. I'm all in. You don't have to be with that person to do the right thing. Put your feelings aside and have feelings for one thing, and that's that kid. That's that kid. So fathers, man, it's up to us. It's up to us to take charge. A mom should have to beg you to take charge in this process. A grandmother should have to beg you to take charge in this process. You should want to. Do you love your kid? Because I love mine with everything in me. So I'm going to do what it takes to make sure my son gets what he needs. Don't make excuses of why you can't do it. Right? No excuses. No excuse. Okay. Oh, I got off work late. I don't understand. There's no excuses. And if you say you don't understand, come to mainguardian.com, look at our resources, send us a message on there, say, I don't understand, can you help me learn this? Guess what? We're going to hit you up immediately, and let you know, hey, this is what it is. So they say they on 35th percentile. This is what that means. All right, this is the resources you have out there available for you. This is what therapy. We'll back you up. We'll back you up 100%. I want to say this too, that if we can, I'm saying if we can because this video might go to different places. I'm saying if we can, but I am willing if I can make it to sit in the IEP with a single mom. If you need somebody to sit in the IEP with you that's knowledgeable, that knows what's going on, that knows the process of IEP, that know the legality of IEP, know what's expected of a state to do, because on our Main Guardian page, we got a resource page where you can go to every state and click on the state and go to the state's IEP website and get all the information about IEPs. I'm willing to sit in a meeting and be that authority father figure in a meeting for a single mom. And I want to call a lot of more men to be open to do that, because there's a lot of single women out here that got men that ain't nothing. I won't say another word, but that ain't nothing. Right. So I need more men to want to step in that gap. Men, we have to bridge the gap. It's the whole purpose of Main Guardian. It's the whole purpose of this podcast. It's a man cave, right? So we're going to be vulnerable in here. We're gonna lay it all out. Um, if you're hurting, I want to hear y'all stories about dealing with your kid with ASD. Hey, because we also need to put out the horror stories, right? The things that go wrong, so people can know how to navigate things. And we say everything good and life is great. We're not really telling the truth, and we're not really guiding people on the right path. So I want to hear those stories. I want to hear the positives. I want to hear the negative. Like my son Caleb, every once in a while he have a insomnia night where he'll wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and won't go to bed, and then try to fall asleep at 6:30 and he know he got to go to school. Right? He'll throw tantrums. He'll yell and scream. He'll do certain things where sometimes, and it's another vulnerable point for me is I'll get him settled. I'll turn on every light in the house, and I just sit down on the ground and cry. I'll sit down and cry because sometimes it's that stressful on me, especially when it's compounded on multiple occasions. It's like, and then life is life. So anything else that happens in life is compounded. So sometimes I sit in the dark, and I don't cry every time, but sometimes I sit down and cry in the dark. Sometimes I gotta sit in the dark and just clear my mind and shut everything off, because sometimes it's stressful. Sometimes it get to you. I don't know what his mom does, but I'm pretty sure she has occasions where sometimes things Caleb do get stressful. And I'm pretty sure you do. So we need to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly, but we really want to highlight the good too. Like ASD isn't a curse. It isn't the end of life. If you understand it the right way, ASD can be a great thing, and a lot of ASD kids are super smart, super talented. But we always see them for the diagnosis and not for who they truly are, and we try to mold them into what we want them to be, and not guide them to who they want to be. So that's the goal with ASD. You don't want to try to mold them who you want them to be. You want to guide them to who they're gonna be. My son probably ain't gonna never play football. My son, he watches it with me, but he probably ain't gonna never put on a helmet. His mom, I don't think she'll let him play anyway. But I'm guiding him to whatever we want to do. He likes swimming. I hope he gets great at swimming. He likes art. Hope he does great at art. He likes math a little bit. Hope he's good at math. He doesn't have to be an accountant. If he wants to go out and tour the world and paint this, man, do what the desires of your heart, Caleb. So I'm guiding. I'm not molding. I'm guiding. Um. So yeah, man, this is the first episode. I want to let you guys know my story. I can't wait to hear your stories. I can't wait to let the world hear your stories. I can't wait to have guests on here that can talk about the different therapies and different studies, and I can't wait to have my team, my group of guys on here who supports male support system that pour into me to help me get through some of this stuff. I can't wait to have a co-parenting discussion. I can't wait to have discussions to where it helps you in your situation. That's the purpose of this. That's the goal of this man cave, to be vulnerable. Come into these man caves, have your little drink with you. I got a little bit of football on in the back here. So we're gonna come in just like a man cave, relaxed and vulnerable and open. Right? That's the purpose of Man Guardian Man Cave. So until next time, love your kids. ASD or not, love your kids. All right. Man cave.